October 6, 2014 for me was just going to be another day at work. Left for work that morning. Little did I know that when I left it would be 45 days before I ever made it home again. That afternoon I was struck with a massive pancreatitis attack. I finally asked someone to take me to the local hospital, which was Ohio State, and the emergency room determined I didn't have a heart attack. They wheeled me back out in the waiting room, and for the next 5 hours I screamed in agony and vomited. People were hiding in the corners. It was not fun. When I was finally admitted, I don't recall much. I know my wife Sally finally got to go home at 2 a.m., only to be called back a couple hours later to be told that I probably would not survive the night. I would spend 28 days in the hospital at Ohio State, 15 of it in the ICU. I went through ICU psychosis, and I know I was difficult to deal with the nurses. I had some wild hallucinations. But I have to thank God for our church friends and family and the ministers where we went to church, Discover Christian Church. We don't have kids, but luckily we had a great support system. They prayed for Sally and I and offered much help. I knew I was in serious trouble, but somehow I knew I would survive. Eventually, I did get well enough to get discharged to a rehab facility and spent the next 3 weeks getting my strength back. After you spend 3 weeks in a bed, you're completely muscle atrophied and you have to learn to walk, eat, do all the basics all over again. They told me it would probably take 5 to 6 weeks to go through this, but I had two incentives. I didn't have insurance and had to pay for it myself, and I wanted to be home for Thanksgiving, so I got it done and I was out in 3 weeks. And eventually I went back to work in December thinking that things were good. But pain returned in January, and after many trips to the doctors, they determined that I was growing a cyst on my pancreas, and they said it was a potato-sized cyst, like the ones at the really expensive steakhouses. So I had surgery, they took my gallbladder out, which the doctor remarked was one of the largest he'd ever seen. But after the operation, the doctor was so pleased with himself, he told me there's a 96% chance that I would never have a problem again, and if you believe in jinxes, that was a jinx. I made it back to work one day. I was sick, in and out of the hospital. I could no longer eat, and nausea and problems with my stomach. They decided they had to put a feeding tube in my stomach and a drain tube for all the bile issues. For 2.5 months, I had no food or drink by mouth. And one of the hospital trips where I was recovering and thought I was about to go home, a nurse noticed something was wrong. My stomach was distended, symptoms were bad, and they rushed me down for a CAT scan and determined the pancreas had attacked again, and this time it was cutting off the blood flow to my colon. I was told at 4 a.m. I was experiencing colon death, and if they didn't have emergency surgery to remove most of my colon, it would be real death. But at this point, my faith was quite shaken. I had been through one ordeal. Why was God punishing me? Was I such a bad person? I heard that God won't give you more than you can handle. I had more than I could handle. I was quite depressed, did not want to go through rehab again, and I really just wanted to die. I couldn't see dealing with this, but Jesus heard my despair. The very next day at the hospital, our head minister and a good friend of ours, the head of our home Bible study group, came to see me. I didn't call them. They somehow knew God sent them to get me right. They prayed with me and taught me I'm not in control of what's happening, and I would not heal in my own time. I would have to turn this over to Jesus, and I would heal in His time, and not just take it day by day. I prayed every day for healing. I did turn it over to Him, and I worked at the rehab facility to get my strength back, and I began to heal. Further complications came up with my wife, who was visiting me, taking care of me. She was not feeling well. She was getting numbness in her left side. She saw a chiropractor, she saw the family doctor, it was not getting better. I get a call at the rehab center from our neighbor. Now, we're taking your wife to the hospital, we think she's had a stroke. They determined it wasn't a stroke, but they wound up transferring her from our local small hospital to a major hospital called Riverside, where she had 2 emergency surgeries on her neck. She was experiencing spinal compression, something that had developed over years, and if they hadn't caught it, she was going to be permanently paralyzed. She now has 10 screws in her neck and has trouble going through airports. different story. But she did about 12 weeks of outpatient physical therapy and has been stabilized. Her numbness is still has gotten, so it's still there, but it saved her life, and she's gotten better and now retired. I wound up spending 6 weeks in the rehab facility the second time, and I finally came to the realization, with all I've gone through, I was grateful to God for putting me through this. I'm a better man because of it. I was taking life for granted. Jesus, our church, all for granted. They would be there. I was taking my health for granted. I weighed 350 pounds, and now I'm about 230. So I was eating what I want, drinking alcohol, not in excess, but 40 years of alcohol consumption was taking its toll on me. They were all contributing factors. I was taking my wife for granted. I'm sick, you have to take care of me. The Lord said, no, it's your turn now to take care of her. And over this 2 years now, God has healed me. I saw my doctor just a couple weeks ago, and they don't need to see me for another year. It's gone from monthly to quarterly to now I'm stable. And so this ostomy I was left with, I'm now dealing with it. I've turned down having reversal surgery. I just don't want to be cut open again. And I now take part in several support groups helping other people deal with an ostomy. The fall of 2015, I got sick again. Wound up with 103 fever, and it was a bad infection, leftover stone from my gallbladder, which had been taken out 6 months before. It seemed to me the devil lived in my gallbladder, even when it was out. But after I got through that, I remember now, when I was being taken down for a procedure Sunday morning to get this gallstone out, cold, icy cold, almost deserted hospital with the air conditioning, I suddenly was overcome with a feeling of warmth and comfort. I just got a big smile on my face and felt the embrace of Jesus. It turned out to be wrapped in prayers. At the same time, our home church had interrupted the service to have prayer because they knew the time of my operation. And this was no coincidence. During my stay in the hospital, a friend introduced me to a great book called Jesus Calling, a daily devotions. And it's amazing how it will speak to you, and I read that every day. One of my favorite Bible verses from all this is Psalm 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. My journey has seen me through death, nearly death many times, but the Lord has guided me through. We're very grateful for all the prayers we got from around the world, friends and family. We owe a lot to our home church, our minister Steve and the staff, and special thanks to our home Bible study group, our small group. I can't overstate how important it is to be involved in a small group, and we certainly were in a great one. We had friends, we were in 2 different hospitals, and we had friends covering us, being with us, and praying for us. I also began to fear that the damage to my pancreas would affect my lifespan. How much longer will I have to live? But I realize now that none of us know the answer to that. None of us know how long before Jesus will call us. I'm giving a second chance for a reason. I have a favorite quote, actually from a Star Trek movie, Captain Picard. Someone once told me there was a predator, that time was a predator, that it stalked us all our lives. But I rather believe that time is a companion that goes with us on the journey and reminds us to cherish every moment because it'll never come again. What we leave behind is not as important as how we lived. That's the importance. I hope my testimony will give hope to others going through rough times. You can get through it with help from your friends and trusting in Jesus. To give back now, I volunteered at Ohio State to be a volunteer, and they assigned me to the attending room in the intensive care unit. It's nice to be on the other side of that wall. Thanks everyone for giving me the time to tell us.